Hello mga kapuso. Today, we'll talk about and learn more about Philippine Pro Wrestling. And today we'll be joined for the first time by a Filipino pro wrestler. That's on this episode of Game On, the podcast.
Well, I wrestle as a bad guy.
Ba't nakatingin ka sa akin?
There's nothing that fuels me more than hearing them, yeah, come on, hate me.
What's up, sports fans? Welcome to Game On, the podcast, the first sports podcast of GMA, brought to you by GMA Regional TV, GMA Synergy, and GMA Digilab. My name is Anton Rojas.
You can find us on GMA Sports and GMA News on YouTube and Facebook. We are also on Apple Music and on Spotify. Ako po si Coach Hammer Martin Antonio.
And this is Martin Javier. Allow me to introduce our guest, Pro Wrestling Style. Introducing first, all the way from Baguio City, Philippines, weighing 195 pounds, the Duke of Shoots, Duke Ortega! Mr. Duke Ortega, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me here.
It's the first time that we'll be talking about pro wrestling here in the Philippines. You are our first pro wrestler guest here on the pod. At bihira na lalo sa mga sports podcast na naiimbita yung mga pro wrestlers. So very interested because we've been wrestling fans since we were kids. It's part of our childhood, pretty much early 2000s, 2010s. Lahat yan naging parte sa amin yan. Okay.
90s for me and this guy.
Oo, 90s.
Late 90s.
Ang naalala ko, una ko pang napanood na pay-per-view was when Stone Cold won his first championship against Shawn Michaels. Naalala ko, sa bahay pa ng pinsan ko yun. So DX yung kalaban ni Stone Cold and Stone Cold won his first.
Kanino kakampi din?
Siyempre sa DX.
Sa DX.
DX pa nun. Kasi bago lang challenger pa lang si Stone Cold eh.
Okay.
Pero after that win, siyempre, lahat na ng bata wanted the Austin 316 na t-shirt.
Kala ko Ministry of Darkness kasi all black.
Pwede Nation of Domination tayo.
Okay, pero siyempre may version tayo dito sa Philippines.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay, so not a lot of people, well, a lot of people know this, pero of course we want to expand the viewership. So, malaki itong wrestling community natin sa Philippines. Talk about FPW.
So FPW started in late 2022. We had our first show in October. This was the first time that wrestling came back since the pandemic. So obviously a lot of fans came out and showed support during that October show, and we've been wrestling ever since. So we've had like monthly shows for FPW, and so far I'd say that the wrestling community has come out and shown their support.
Okay. Duke, yung Filipino Pro Wrestling or FPW, is that just the one pro wrestling body here in the Philippines that handles everything, or it has different branches, different organizations under it?
So it's more of just, we are a promotion that puts together wrestling matches and wrestling shows. And for the moment, we are the only wrestling promotion in the Philippines.
Okay. I'm very interested. Pareho ba to ng approach to international pro wrestling? Like, what we're used to, WWE. Ganyan.
So if we're talking about the WWE, you have two types of wrestling. You've got your indie promotions. So, stuff like, of course, FPW. So these are the independent promotions that are smaller in scale. They don't necessarily have TV shows or TV presence. And then you have the professional promotions like the WWE and AEW. In Japan, you've got NJPW, where they promote their shows on television. And essentially that's the two differences. For now, FPW is in the independent scene.
Okay. Kamusta yung response ng Pinoy? Siyempre, that's always a challenge, especially you started 2022. So, nung nagsisimula ba kayo, okay ba yung response ng Filipinos? Maraming, bibili akong ticket. Kasi, yung mga videos ng pro wrestling dito, pag pin-upload niya, mabilis mag-viral yan.
Yeah.
Diba? They're interested about the storyline, what's going on. So, kamusta yung response, especially when you guys were starting out back in 2022?
Basically, ang daming tao just coming out and just like watching the show, especially the very first show. And in terms of the Pinoy experience and the Pinoy, I would say, reception to the show, it's really, as a person who's wrestled internationally, the community here is very respectful of the show, but they're also not like if they see something that they want to like have fun with, like they'll heckle, right? They'll heckle, but it's in the fun way. It's never in the disrespectful way. It's more of just they want to be a part of the show. So when they come in and there's a lot of them, they just watch the performance and they're 100% invested in it.
Okay.
I think that we are all waiting for that time where the audience becomes more engaged, because I think that's what really brought life and interest to the WWE. Imagine if we can get the people in the live audience to be as invested and as crazy as those who comment on social media, because I think that will fuel you guys, right? I mean, if they're heckling you and you have the mic in your hands, you can respond right back.
Oh man, so I wrestle as a bad guy, as a heel, right? And am I allowed?
Nakatingin ka sa akin. Nakatingin ka.
It's like you're the epitome of a heel, Hammer.
Akala ko sasabihin mo,
Hindi, baka nagkakahanap siya ng tag team.
hey, anytime, man. Hey, this is the Great Kali Filipino version.
Grabe ka naman. Pwede naman Kevin Nash muna. Pwede naman Kevin Nash.
Just don't tear your quad like Kevin Nash.
So in terms of like actual as a heel interacting with the audience, my wrestling name is Duke Ortega, right? And my name, the one they introduced me as, is the Duke of Shoot. But when I go out there and I'm playing the bad guy, the crowd chants Duke of Duke of. And I swear, like, there's nothing that fuels me more than hearing them like chant that, because it's like, come on, hate me more.
You already did half of my work.
You already did half.
Kasi you already engaged. Di ba yun sinasabi na pagka-heel ka, kailangan people will hate you. People will absolutely hate you, and everybody, if you're doing your job, they would hate you, really.
Yeah, and when I go out there and like entrance pa lang, they're already chanting that. Like, oh yeah, I got you. You're in the palm of my hand now. So when I start beating up your hero,
Hindi, yun naman talaga eh. Yun naman talaga.
I live for that, man.
Okay, I want to define it more. Did you have idol villains in wrestling?
Heels. Oh
Looked up
gosh. Okay, if we're talking about like my most favorite character, it would be Eddie Guerrero.
A lie, a cheat, a steal.
Exactly, man. Because that's the level of heel work that all heels aspire to. Imagine that, you know, your entire character is based on lying, cheating, and stealing, and yet people still love you. They love you and they love to hate you. It's like, I really don't like Eddie Guerrero, and people will come to your show and watch to see you get beaten up. But there are also people who are like, I really love Eddie Guerrero, and they'll come to see you cheat and steal. So
Sa atin, tricycle yung lowrider. Hindi lowrider. Tricycle eh. Di ba? Pwede, di ba? Pwede.
jeepney na lowrider.
Na nagbabounce. But, you know, that's an interesting POV, because exactly what you said, Eddie Guerrero is a heel, but we love him. Like, we love his character. Some people love that they, I don't know, hate that they love him because he's so bad. Dami niyang ginagawa sa ring, dami niyang kabalbalan sa ring, pero ikaw nag-enjoy ka.
Yeah.
Diba?
That's his persona eh. Talaga na. He will find a way to cheat and get a win every time.
By the way, bless his soul, R.I.P.
God
Eddie
was taken
Guerrero.
from us very early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Eddie Guerrero. How about be the wrestlers?
Be the wrestlers.
Baby face.
The baby face.
If we're talking about baby faces, I love Cesaro. Have you guys heard of him? No.
Yung bodybuilder, di ba?
Bodybuilder. Yeah, the bodybuilder.
Meron.
Isn't Cesaro the guy with the mask also?
No.
He used to wrestle for WWE. He now wrestles for AEW. He's so strong. He giant swung. I don't know if you know what a giant swing is, but it's basically when you carry somebody by their legs and you spin around in a circle. And he giant swung the Great Khali.
What?
Yeah.
7'3".
Guy's 7'3", weighs over 200, like over 250 pounds, and he's just swinging him around like he's like a doll.
Kung nagtataka po kayo kung bakit ganun yung reaction ni Martin Javier kasi paborito niya si The Great Khali.
It's exactly like I said. I'm a
I hated that era of wrestling. Kasi wala makatalo eh. Di ba? Ilalaban pa si Rey Mysterio. Di ba?
Oy, din nanalo si Rey Mysterio sa kanya. Nanalo si Rey Mysterio sa kanya. Yun yung nag-champion si Rey Mysterio.
So if we're talking about baby faces, it would be that and Stone Cold. Stone Cold's a great baby face.
Nung may buhok pa siya. Nung may buhok, bago nag-Austin 316, bago nag-Jake the Snake.
I think Stone Cold was the best babyface and at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
By far.
By far.
All right, so every hero or character has an origin story. What is the origin story of Duke Ortega? Like, where are you from? And when did you first get introduced to wrestling? And did you ever imagine that one day you would actually get into the business?
Okay, cool. A lot of questions. I will start with where I came from. So, I grew up in Baguio watching a lot of wrestling on TV. Even if my parents were like, "Hey, don't watch that. It's you just saw a guy put his head through a cinder block. You're not supposed to see that." And I'm like, "No, I'll watch it."
So he's used to wrestling in high altitude. May advantage agad.
Of sea level eh.
Yeah, and growing up through high school and college, I practiced judo and karate. So making the transition to pro wrestling in the later stage of my life as an adult was pretty seamless. In regards to like knowing that or like feeling that or thinking that I would be a pro wrestler, I didn't even think of it, right? Like I enjoyed wrestling, but like in the Philippines we're wrestling. No, but all of a sudden one of my friends said, "Hey, there's this promotion that's out there, the now defunct PWR, and they're doing a boot camp. You want to join?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, like let's do it." And the first thing they taught me was all the basics that I learned in judo. So it's like, oh yeah, this is easy, right? And I learned later on that it wasn't, but during that time, I was like all in. I wanted so much to be a pro wrestler. And I had so much fun doing that, doing the training sessions, working in front of an audience, just loving that. Yeah.
All right, you mentioned already the training sessions because nakikita natin yung mga wrestlers sasabihin nila, oh, you know, they're not really hitting the other person.
Sobrang hirap.
Oh,
Sobrang
pero
hirap.
yung training ng pro wrestler, ayun, sabi ni Coach Hammer, this is tough because you have to do the stunts yourself. Of course, you're risking your life.
Not only your life, but your partner's life. Kasi dalawa kayo, when you're performing on pro wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. Ay, na-explain eh. Kaya nga, di ba, kids, don't try this at home. Dahil there's a synergistic relationship nung dalawang nagper-perform na this is the moves that we would pull out, na you need to also protect the one that you're performing with.
Exactly. Yeah. So when it comes to the training sessions, and actually at the moment FPW is running an FPW Academy where anyone can just come in and try to see if they're fit to be a pro wrestler. So hey, Hammer, if you
Yung steel chair. yung steel chair.
But yeah, you can find more details about that on our Facebook page. But essentially, training as a professional wrestler is at the very beginning, is a lot of cardio. Because at any point in time, you're not supposed to, like even if you're looking tired, you're not actually supposed to be tired in the ring. So, you know, you don't want to be what we call gassed. Do you know what that is? Gassed, like you're running out of breath, right? So yeah, say for instance you're doing a match that's like say 30
An hour
minutes.
long, okay.
Yeah, or hour long, 30 minutes, right? Hour long is like, wow, that's a lot. But 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and then you run out of air 2 minutes in or 3 minutes in. Like, what are you going to do? So, first thing we do is we work on your cardio. Because the strength can always be built on, right? But cardio is like...
Cardio is cardio.
Cardio is cardio. After that, once we know that you can do all the moves, you're physically fit for that, then we move on to the actual move set. Like, okay, can you do the basic things? Like, can you do a body slam? Can you take a clothesline? Can you... Not necessarily, oh yeah, you're going to do a top rope move. Nah, man. Like, later on, but for now, the basics. So, punches, kicks, body slams, DDTs, that sort of thing. The last thing that we add is the character work. Because that's, character work is usually the last thing that comes up, because we just want to make sure that when you get into the ring, you don't look like a fool, right? Like, your character can be stupid, but as long as you're acting like you're stupid, that's fine.
Okay. Hold on. How do you gauge if they're ready to go into the ring and get into an official match?
Well, there are many ways of getting there. You'll know. It's hard to explain, but there are things that we call practice matches in the training period, where you will do wrestling. You will have a match with existing people or existing wrestlers, and from there we'll gauge whether or not you're safe. Your character is, not just marketable, but people can engage with it. So we don't want somebody there who doesn't speak a word, who has don't worry, Hammer, not yet. Or who can't wrestle in the ring, who can't engage with the audience. The moment that we see that you can wrestle in the ring and you can engage with the people around you, not just your partner in the ring, but the people watching the performance, that's when it's like, okay, good, you're booked for the next show.
That's why it's a little bit tougher, because I think building confidence, you only get that through experience, through repetition, and especially if you go through a training phase without an audience, iba pa rin yung pag lumabas ka. You got fans all over, you have, a full crowd.
Ako, interested ako. I mean, when it comes to character development for the local guys, do you have a free hand of expressing how do you want your, let's say, Duke Ortega, saan mo gusto mo punta? You mentioned you wrestled as a heel. Are you being steered in one way, or is it a company effort na mapipili kayo kung, ito yung trajectory na papasukan mo? Kasi with what we're exposed to with the WWE, laging there's an upper management that tells them that, look, this is where we would want to drive you, so there would be more storylines involved.
Sure. So I guess it depends on how much the company trusts you, right? So the more the company trusts you, the more freedom you have in regards to choosing what your character is, or what you want to say in the ring. Like, oh yeah, go bahala, right? But if they don't trust you as much, they're gonna railroad you to okay, this is your character.
Stay within it.
Stay within it. You don't necessarily have to. You can ad-lib a little bit within the lines, but as long as you get this main point done, this is what you need to do. So yeah, the more they trust you, the more freedom you have in regards to your character.
The way Duke speaks, you can tell that he's well educated. You're from LaSalle, right?
Yes.
So I also think the mental aspect is very much as important as the physical aspect as well. But we also know that, how old are you?
32.
You're 32 and you're still doing this. You're risking your body to be a professional wrestler. Are you doing this full
Same
time?
age, bro. 32.
Are you doing this full time?
No, I'm not. I'm doing this on the side next to my full-time job.
Okay, which is?
Consultancy. Tech consultancy.
Wow, man, respect.
Yeah,
Respect.
thank you.
Okay, so you're working and you're risking your body. And we know that in the WWE, Owen Hart tragically passed away because of a stunt he was doing. Stone Cold was pile drivered by the late Owen Hart, and his health deteriorated. Bret Hart was kicked by Goldberg, whom he called an imbecile. and there is a documentary about it right now. Have you ever had an experience where you got injured because of an accident, and how do you overcome it?
Sure. So,
And why would you take such a risk?
okay, let's tackle those in order.
I think the simple answer here is YOLO. Okay, kidding. Go ahead.
I did get injured several times throughout my career. Way before the pandemic, I had my finger dislocated, my ring finger and my right hand dislocated catching somebody. And that was like minute 5 of a 30-minute match. So the rest of that time, again, this is where mental strength comes in. Just being able to continue with that match with a dislocated finger, that's one. Another one is I've had several times my shoulder had been, I wouldn't say dislocated, but the nerves had been a bit damaged. So it would take, like, say, weeks, or at a certain point, like 2 months of recovery. And the latest injury that I sustained was an ankle injury where I couldn't walk for a week, and then I couldn't walk unassisted by crutches for a month. But I love wrestling.
Part of it. Part of it.
It's all part of it. These are accidents in the ring. It's normally, in fact, it never happened to me, but I would say that most of the time these accidents are never meant, right? These are things that just happen as I guess it's just part of the work. It happens. And when that does happen, everyone there is regretful that it did happen. No one's going to be like, "Oh, I'm glad it happened to you," right? So yeah, it's, I just love wrestling, and just being able to wrestle is enough for me to bear the danger of getting injured in the ring.
For some people, he's living the life because he has a full-time job and he gets to live out his passion, and you get to wrestle as a pro, as a professional. I want to know, let's go back to FTW for a little bit. I want to know what's the Filipino flavor na naka-inject sa pro wrestling. Like what kinds of Filipino traits? Meron bang mga angasan yan? Paano kayo nagyayabangan sa ring?
Madami yan.
Oo.
Madami yan. Marami yan.
Nagmamano. Huwag matanda. Kung ano si Hammer, magmamano ka dyan. Joke lang.
Tito na.
Okay.
Uncle na uncle eh.
So how do we inject Filipino flavor? A lot of our characters are based on, wrestling is always, the characters that you have in the ring are always going to be, like, I would say, exaggerated versions of people, of, like, same people you see in real life, right? So one of my favorite characters before, and he's still wrestling up to now, and he's one of the guys that are going to be performing in the show on July, is Idol. So he's like, his character is, he comes up to you, he looks at you, and he's like, "Open-minded ka ba?"
Networking.
Yeah, the network sila eh, di ba?
Yeah,
Yung
the
group nila,
network.
The network.
Hindi ka ba
The
mag-coffee?
network. Yun yung grupo nila, The Network. Nagde-networking sila. Yun yung yun yung gig nila.
Yeah. And we have,
Amazing.
like, that character is so good. I love his performances every time. We have a couple of twins from Katips, and they're basically exactly what you'd imagine when they say they're from Katips. So it's so yeah, it's a lot of Filipino wrestling characters. A lot of our characters from Filipino wrestling are essentially characters that you see in the life that you live in the Philippines.
Okay, in terms of like the audience, because when we watch a WWE, of course, there are borders, they have security there. Here, obviously, it's a smaller venue. And you mentioned it's a more interactive experience for the audience. What's the worst that you've experienced, or what's the worst thing that you've received from a fan? Meron bang pumasok doon na inaway kayo, ganon, total heckling? Because they have more freedom
Yeah,
to interact with you guys.
They definitely do. While we do have people who are watching over the audience, that hasn't stopped people from outright heckling. But I've never seen an audience member go into the ring personally. Like that's never happened in the history of FPW or the history of the other wrestling promotions in the Philippines. So yeah, I would say that worst thing that ever happened to me is there was audience participation with one match. We had a hardcore match. So a hardcore match is when you
No rules.
no rules, no
Only
DQ.
pinfall.
And we had this stipulation: audience members can bring whatever they want, and we'll use it in the ring. Right? So we had a box outside, like put your whatever you want here. Someone brought Legos. Demented guy, like just like somebody. Have you ever stepped on a Lego before?
Oh, yeah.
Have you been slammed on a Lego?
Yeah.
And then like somebody brought a wushu sword. It was dull, but it's like why? What are we gonna?
What? Are you gonna
Yeah. So
stab people?
exactly. It was like what does
has to say
exactly.
about that?
what does this guy want us to do? But as far as audience interactions go, I think that's the furthest. Like, ang weird pala ng audience dito.
Iba pala yung gusto nilang mapanood. What a bloodbath. Okay.
Well, Duke, all I got to say is you better watch the audience after your match with Proximo, because you never know when the hammer will get dropped on you.
You have a match, upcoming match versus Proximo.
Yeah, mask wearing dude.
Mask wearing. I feel like that's a diss. Okay, mask wearing dude. Can't
Show
even,
your face.
can't
Stir
even
the pot.
show his
Show
face.
your face. Proximo.
He's probably ugly underneath it. I don't blame him.
Character na.
I don't blame him.
Gosh. Woo. Proximo catching
Proximo,
strays.
you heard it here first in Game On. Our boy calling you ugly.
You know what? Actually, Duke, Proximo's right here. Let's bring him in.
So we're a week away from that particular match. How do you build up to that match? How do you hype the audience, the fans, and for you personally, how do you prep? And especially, how do you paano mo tinatahi yung narrative, yung storyline dito sa match na to?
If we're talking about actually, let's say, promoting the show, it's a lot of social media, right? But if we're talking about preparing for that match, I don't think I need to prepare for Proximo. Like, I could just stay at home eating chips.
This is the chillest trash talk ever.
I don't even need to get worked up about Proximo. That's how I feel about this match. He's a newbie. Hides his face all the time. So, yeah, at this point, it's like, well, what do you have to offer, man? You know, like,
Whoa! I love it.
like you can be fast, Proximo. You can be strong, Proximo. But I'm still better.
By the way, this is part of the build-up for that match.
So Proximo has no chance against you.
Oh, I wouldn't even put it in the same stratosphere, man. It's just like,
So are you saying that Coach Hammer has a bigger chance of beating you than Proximo?
I would answer that's a 0 chance.
Okay, please be honest. We got you, bro.
I mean, he's 6'4". He's 230 now? What are you?
I don't even know. I don't even know.
That just means he weighs more.
Maybe 260.
I'm 260, bro.
hey. I wouldn't say anything about a dance battle. But in the ring, I think Hammer's got a decent chance against Proximo, man.
So parang ang layo Proximo.
I love how he just transformed into your character, right?
No,
into
he's
your...
always in character.
I'm always in character. What are you talking about?
Okay, I'm interested because, of course, wrestlers, part of their personality and their whole wrestling persona are your moves, right? Your finishing moves, your regular wrestling moves, pre-finishing moves. Okay, for you, can you give us your regular moves in the ring?
Okay, my regular moves in the ring. I've got the best suplex in the game. So
Best suplex in the biz.
best suplex in the biz. So I'm pretty good at that. Suplexes in general. So the normal suplex, the exploder suplex, the T-bone suplex, the Northern Lights suplex, all of those, the fisherman suplex, I'm pretty good at. Basics are it might be the basics, but these are the building blocks for me to destroy other people.
So the judo helps talaga.
Yeah, judo helps so much. Aside from that, I do love the Texas Cloverleaf. It taps a lot of people out. And I do like the giant swing. So I love swinging people around as well.
Giant swing. I think I saw that in one of your clips
Yeah.
on
King ko
Facebook.
lang nakikita yun kay King eh. Pagka di ba yung sa dulo ng rolling crate. Ganun, oo. Di ba?
Yo, your finisher. So I saw it, and it's not easy. It's like, so you pick the guy up.
Yeah, well,
and
it's
then
on the ground, yeah.
Hanging
you
power
build it
up.
up. You hold him in the air for a bit, and then you take 2 steps forward and Batista bomb the guy,
Yeah, well, it's
and then straight to the pin.
straight to the pin. Yeah, so carry him up, give him the thumbs down, and then straight down. So run a couple steps, just give that extra oomph, jump up a little bit, and then come straight down.
Liger bomb. What are the 2 words before it?
So it's the gut wrench running Liger bomb.
Gut wrench running Liger bomb.
Naramdaman ko na. Yung title
Did you come
pala.
up with that on your own?
Yes, actually. It's based on a couple of people that I look up to. So there's Alexander Karelin. He is a Olympian Greco-Roman wrestler, and he used to lift people up just the same way I lift people up. Loved that guy. Loved his work. He's a professor in wrestling, an actual wrestler in wrestling.
Professor.
He has a PhD on how to escape
Doctor.
suplexes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Wrestling.
And also Jushin Thunder Liger. So Japanese wrestler, he has the Liger bomb. I just put 2 and 2 together. I was like, okay, I love this, I love that. If I combine it, it looks sick.
Duke, not to spoil the fans, but Muhammad Ali used to always predict how he would finish his opponent. How are you gonna finish Proximo? Do you have a plan, or are you just gonna go about it on the fly?
Honestly, I haven't even thought about it. It's not really something I think about, especially with Proximo. It's like, I'm gonna win. It's as natural as breathing, right? Like, yeah.
It's as natural as breathing.
That's right. And if I were gonna say it, it's just gonna end the same way, with his legs up in the air, me holding him down, and me going for the pin.
Okay. Yeah, Proximo, watch out next week. But I want to know, especially, what's your cue that you gotta finish this man, and what's your cue that you have to do your finisher moves already?
Oh, that's it's a lot. It's a lot of thinking for people who aren't named Proximo. But normally it's a sense of urgency against, like, say for instance, one of the other wrestlers, Ralph Imabayashi, because that guy, genuine threat against me, right? Like, okay, I have to put him away or else he's gonna end me, right? He's gonna pull one of my shoulders apart. With Proximo, I don't know. I couldn't even see his face, so I guess the gut wrench running Liger bomb would just do the trick. I really haven't thought about it. I'm sorry.
You can do it at any point.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try to do it. Start of the match.
Wow. End the show early. Oh, grabe yung trash talk dito.
Kasama yun.
Kasama nga. Oh. Okay.
You need to work on your mic skills, Hammer.
That's what I have you for, my manager. Manager! Di ba na dumating si Game, di nagsasalita. Si Paul Bearer lang yung nagsasalita.
Do not ever compare me to Paul Bearer.
Jimmy Hart. Yeah, Jimmy Hart.
I'm like a fit wise man.
Oh, yeah.
That's who I am.
Dalawa yun ha. Kinumpare niya yung sarili niya kay Kane. Kinumpare niya yung sarili niya. Kinumpare niya yung sarili, ikaw kay Paul Bearer.
I mean, you could just say you're, I don't know, gosh, there's so many people better than Paul Bearer and Kane. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Like I said, man, open invitation. If you want to join FPW, just go right ahead. We can line you up with a manager. It's okay.
Let's figure out the music first. And invest in some fireworks and pyrotechnics.
Feel ko kaya. Kaya. The next big thing in Philippine pro wrestling.
I mean, you could just come in. You'd be like, you can have one line. Just like, I'm gonna bring down the hammer. I mean, that's it. That's it. That's all you need to do.
Gusto ko, dahil mahilig ka sa black.
Oh, so, hindi, pwede na ako yung...
Gusto ko yung suot mo, yung parang kay Big Show dati.
Onesie.
Since alam na natin na mabilis na tatapusin ni Duke yung laban, ready na tayo. Nasa crowd tayo. Tapos papasok ka. Ko-clothesline mo siya. Kasi mga 5 minuto tapos na yung laban, di ba? Ready tayo.
Parang pakiramdam ko mga 3 minuto lang, pare. Parang yung mga...
Huwag ka magmimintis, ha? You come at the king, you best not miss.
Parang money in the bank match eh. Pagkatapos ng laban, susulpot na lang.
Mamaya pag clothesline mo, nakailag to.
Ako pa yung mga lighter bomb. Pag sa WrestleMania, yung una na akong clothesline nalalaglag eh.
De Marts, from the crowd kami.
From the crowd?
From the
sige.
crowd kami.
Sige.
Walang music from the crowd. Bigla na lang kami
Parang si Sting.
susulpot. Tas kung special guest commentator ka, sino yun?
Ah! Ang laki nun ah!
That's Coach Hammer!
Oh man, what is he doing?
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect.
He's risking his life.
Mawalan tayo na ko.
Yun yung commentator.
Sabihin ko, kasi yung line niya dati sa basketball, bakit nga naman hindi? Di ba yun yung commentator si Coach Hammer? Bakit nga naman hindi? Maging wrestler. Okay.
Parang Jerry the King Lawler.
That's good. That's good.
Eto, Marts, we want to get a front row seat to who Duke Ortega is and what he is all about. So let's pretend right now you're a heel, and for some strange reason, he's the babyface. I'm his manager, and he's Michael Cole.
Wow, you're putting me on the spot here.
And
Okay.
Duke, my client, Coach Hammer, is calling you out. He's challenging you to a match. You know what? You come on here, the Game On podcast, wearing that black shirt of yours with your name written all over it, looking all slick with that combed hair to the right side of your head.
Oh, he went there. I'd be pissed.
Well, thank you though.
I checked your Instagram and you said you have the meanest suplex in the biz. Well, guess what? Coach Hammer, he's got a choke slam that can shatter your spine. And he's pulling up on you at your gym next week. What you gonna do, brother? Because he's about to drop the hammer on you.
Let me tell you something. Hammer, I've seen your moves. I've seen you dance against Brandon De Vera. I'm not afraid of you.
He's seen it.
I've seen it. If that's the best you can bring, then I'm sorry.
And I also want to apologize for saying that. I broke his character.
Si Hammer nag-full agad eh.
Why did you break character?
He broke his character.
You're fired.
So, sobrang fun.
And that's the end of Hammer's wrestling career.
Yun na nga po.
Down the drain.
Sayang. Alam mo pwede si Hammer kasi may character yan. Tattoos, lips. Bigay mo sa kanya yung maliliit. Tatapon lang niya yun.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, for real. If you want to join, just let me know, man.
The invitation. There's the invitation. Let's get to what we call the FOAT. Still trying to figure out a better name for it, but it's what we got right now. So
with the FOAT.
FOAT basically means favorite of all time. Duke, we all know that a lot of planning, a lot of advice from the management, and your personal preferences come into being who you are. So we want you to, with your wrestling mind, come up with the ultimate wrestler based on several categories which are vital to the success of a wrestler. So we got mic skills, the gimmick, the finisher, the entrance music, and if this wrestler is going to be a babyface or a heel, we already know the answer to that. So heel, so apat na lang to. Mic skills, who is the best on the mic of all time?
Dang, that comes up to multiple people, but if I were to give it to two, I'm a big fan of Kurt Angle's mic skills because he could get a crowd to hate him, right?
Yeah, I hated him.
Hated him, but he was good at it, and he knew where to sprinkle comedy because he knew, okay, I need to make these people laugh at me, right? Because like if you're too much of a bad guy, people will just hate you, right? Just hate you. But if you're also, you can provide like some laughter in that, some comedy in that, that's even better. Because like they're laughing at you and they're engaging with your character. Other mic skills would be Eddie Guerrero, obviously. Eddie Guerrero's mic skills were pretty good. Like the way that he would explode at you, because I wouldn't want to feed it the stereotype, but the angry Mexican, right? The moment it turned on.
So kanino kakampi nun? Nung si Kurt Angle saka si Eddie Guerrero yung magkalaban for that championship
so
sa
hard.
SmackDown.
Let's asking me to choose parents, man.
Kasi di ba before Eddie was the champion, it was Kurt Angle.
was Kurt, yeah.
He was the SmackDown champion.
Conflicted. So I'm going to say I'm going to pass on that question.
Basta si Martin, ekis na si Great Kali sa mic skills kasi wala talaga mic skills, guys.
Wala.
Tsaka
Yun na.
yung gimmick.
May taga-send
Patayuin
si
niyo na lang
Davari,
dun.
yung maliit na...
Kahit nakatalayo lang. Mananalo na siya. Tatapakan lang yung kalaban. Ganun siya.
Best gimmick of all time for you. Best gimmick.
That's so
Who
hard.
had the best gimmick?
Okay, I'm gonna give it to Kurt Angle in terms of shoot, in terms of reality bleeding into
The
wrestling.
Olympic champ.
Because
The
he's an
boxing
Olympic
champ.
champion. He won a gold medal with a broken neck. That sort of thing. That really feeds into that really helps when you can use your real life experiences in your gimmick, because that's 1:1. You don't even have to act anymore. It's like this character's me. I just have to exaggerate more. That's it.
I feel like your ideal wrestler is Kurt Angle.
Well, it looks like that, but we'll get to
The wrestling machine. Hindi, tsaka
He spits a lot.
siya rin yun eh.
Siya rin yun.
Kumbaga, yun yung foundation niya because he's legit. Like, Duke is also legit judo. So, kumbaga, he's just bringing his foundation into professional wrestling and then he's adding layers to it. Okay.
Character development na lang.
Finisher, aside from yours, para sa'yo, what was your favorite finisher of all time?
So,
Uncle Slam. Or yung lock niya. Uncle Lock. Uncle Lock.
So one of the best things to think about when thinking about making a finisher or doing a finisher is you got to be able to do it to anybody, right? So it's like, okay, there are finishers that you can't do, like say you're 150 pounds, right? And then yung kalaban mo 300 to 50, right? You can't power bomb that guy, so you gotta think of another move that you can use on him. So one of my favorite wrestling moves is the RKO. Because you can do it to anybody.
Kahit sa swimming pool, pwede mong gawin.
O kahit sa
Ginawa
pool,
niya sa
pwede
sarili ng anak. Out of nowhere! RKO!
Exactly. Like
Viper!
you can do it from any point of any
setting.
like somebody coming in from he's jumping over and then you just catch his neck. RKO. Like you're sneaking in from the crowd, RKO. Some guy is running down the entrance ramp, RKO. So RKO, man. That's like the best finisher. Aside from that, sweet chin music, because it's also something that you can do to anybody. HBK, yeah.
Stop it, Hammer. You don't have the flexibility. Okay, entrance music, because I think this has evolved over time, because during the Attitude Era, it was clearly just instrumentals, like Limp Bizkit style music, and then if you have a gimmick like the Undertaker's, now the fans actually sing to the entrance songs, and it's so vital. Para sa'yo, who has the best entrance music of all time?
Modern day, it would be in the WWE. I'm not sure if you heard of him. His name is Shinsuke Nakamura. And what would happen is when he first came into WWE, he had such a banger of a theme song that when they switched him to a bad guy, they were still singing along to his entrance music. So, like, obviously that's detrimental to him, but you know, it was a really good track. But if we're talking about old school wrestling music, I think it's Stone Cold, because the moment glass breaks, instant like recognition, like, oh, I know.
That's not how the fans scream.
It's the first time I've heard Coach Hammer scream like that. That's the most high pitched you've been.
Hindi, di ba mga bata? No, tapos sila. Hindi, basta may banners.
If we're talking about with lyrics, it would be HBK. HBK's theme.
Yeah.
Stop.
Wala na John Cena, no?
Well, I don't know. I feel like that's because I've heard it so many times. Nah, it's like kasi naging meme din. So it's like, okay. Like,
For me, iconic yung entrance ni song lang Kane. Yung
Man, I would have never guessed
yung
iconic para sa'yo yun.
Kasi yung music na yun, pagpasok niya, yung persona niya, he's from hell. So parang may sunog talaga na, you know, you're burning in hell. Oh, here's Kane. 7-foot Kane. Yung parang may sunog, tapos nakikita mo yung, okay, may waves ng konti.
yeah, actually, if we're talking about that, then the one that has like brand recognition, Undertaker. Yung dong, like, alam na. Diba? It's like, lights go off, dong.
Oh, kasi NWO eh. Wolfpack eh. The Wolfpack yung... my favorite wrestler, Razor Ramon eh. May toothpick pa eh.
Are there some dudes in the business who actually have zero background in terms of combat sports and are in the business?
Okay,
And do you like working with those dudes?
I'd be scared for them, by the way.
so, yes.
Pero nakakatakot din yun kasi hindi marunong. So, 'di ba, if he has to take a bump from that guy, 'di ba, baka ma-injure pa.
Oo nga.
I have worked with people who have zero combat sports experience. And, you know, like looking at people who, like if you're HR and you're looking at people who have zero experience in the field but have transferable skills, you know, or, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't wrestle. That's why there's an entire training phase in regards to that. So before we put you in the ring, obviously we want to make sure that you can wrestle, you can keep yourself safe, you can keep your partner safe, right? Although I will say that people with zero combat sports experience have a longer training period compared to people who do. Because the first thing we teach you is, aside from cardio, is learning how to break your fall. And, you know, like just like falling on your front, falling on your back, that's hard to learn for people who have no experience in that field. I have wrestled in Australia. I've trained in Singapore. I've wrestled in Australia, in the East Coast. Trained in Australia for, I would say, a couple of months. And then at a certain point, they were like, hey, did you bring your gear? And of course, as
They invited you to perform.
Exactly. And as a professional, I brought my gear, right? So like, yeah, of course I brought my gear. So they put me on the show. Fun fact, if you are a visiting wrestler, normally you don't win. But at a certain point in my career when I was there, they were like, hey, so we were thinking it's a hardcore match, 4 of you. Why don't you pick up the win? I'm like, are you sure? I'm a foreigner. I'm not supposed to win. It's like, no, it's okay. You do it. So I have a very good win-loss ratio for a foreigner in Australia. How's the pro wrestling scene in Australia? I would say it's really good. Like, there are multiple states, obviously, in Australia. You've got Queensland, you've got New South Wales. Each state has its own promotion, has like 5 promotions for each state. And they wrestle every week. But that's because they're in an economy that allows them to do that. So, you know, it's like, okay, cool. It's sustainable for them. and they have a lot of fun doing it. And all of the wrestlers that I know in Australia that I've met are very friendly, very good, and they're very safe. So they get an A+ from me. Yeah.
They get an A+ from you.
Yeah.
All right. So we're very excited for your match versus Proximo, who is still wearing a mask. I bet you he wears that when he's sleeping.
I have no doubt.
Okay. So can you invite everybody to catch it, time and place, and the slate, the lineup for that particular night?
You can catch FPW Astig at Baked Studios on Yakal Street in Makati on July 14. Doors open at 2 p.m. You can get your tickets at tickettome.com.
Your book, buddy.
Now, in terms of matches, we've got Cuatro versus Evan Carlo. Very good match. The YOLO twins from Katips versus James Idol Martinez and Mike Madrigal. You got Thiago versus Jeffrey, a Jeff Hardy fan. Jan Evander versus Cali Nueva. They are luchadors. Well, really tiny people, but move really fast and they're really strong. So I'm looking forward to that. You got Ralph Mobayashi versus Roxy Reeves. Vet versus rookie match. Chino Ginto versus Dax Javiera. And if Chino Ginto loses, he quits the company.
Whoa.
Interesting.
I quit match.
Stakes are high. Okay.
No, for Dax, if he loses, nothing happens. Nothing happens to him.
High risk, huh?
High risk, no reward. And then you got me versus Proximo, and obviously that's going to be one hell of a match. It's a main event. Don't expect to stay there long. It's only going to be 3 minutes.
3 minutes after the...
And then after that, Hammer will come out apparently.
As the new tag team siya, as the new tag team contender.
Hammer comes out, misses terribly with a clothesline. Duke picks him up
Liger bombed.
and gets Liger bombed back to broadcasting.
Hammer, yung project, yung acting mo dapat pag na-miss mo, oh no!
Oh no!
And we have a special announcement from Red Oliero.
Oh.
So, who is the president of FPW?
He's not gonna be doing stand-up comedy that night.
No, I assure you he won't be.
Or signing Coach Hammer to the company.
Might be the big announcement. Might be the big announcement.
So may naka-set up doon na table, ayan na mag-announce sa kay Coach Hammer. Lalabas si Duke bigla, paparuin niya ng steel chair. Si Coach Hammer.
Ready na yung storyline natin.
Welcome to FPW! No, I'm looking at Proximo. He doesn't even have a Facebook page.
Like I said, man, he hides behind his mask. So, why would he have a social media account if he can't speak for himself?
Oh! I fear for this guy, bro.
No, let me be clear. He did pass the training, the FPW training academy. So obviously there's some merit to him. I wouldn't say I'm worried about it, but I do know that he is fast and he is strong. Just not as fast and as strong as I am. So.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Duke Ortega. Man, that was a fun conversation. Thank you for sharing with us your story, and good luck with your match against Proximo.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
I don't need the luck though. But
And of course, we wish
He
luck
needs it.
for... Yeah, I do need a lot of that. But we wish FPW the best in the coming years. We really want this sport to grow. And again, it's something that the three of us were exposed, we watched, and we're hoping for the best for you guys.
Duke, your message to the Philippine wrestling community.
well, thank you so much for supporting us so far. We love the fact that you are enjoying our product in regards to our YouTube channel, where we're presenting all our episodes. So you can find that in Filipino Pro Wrestling in YouTube, and as well as just coming to the shows for FBWS Stig. That means a lot to us.
Thank you to our guest today, Filipino pro wrestler, Mr. Duke Ortega. And good luck to his match against Proximo. Maraming salamat din po mga kapuso sa inyong pagtutok dito sa podcast. Hello to our supporters. Thank you so much for engaging, watching our videos, and of course listening to us via Spotify.
We hope you guys enjoy that episode with the meanest in the biz, Duke Ortega. Do check out all of our episodes though at GMA Sports PH on YouTube and tap in as well on our podcast on Spotify. My name is Anton Rojas. Tap in and don't tap out.
Also, check out all the other podcasts of GMA Network. We are found on Spotify, on Apple Music, also on GMA News. Kami sa Game On, we are on GMA Sports, also on YouTube. Ako po si Coach Hammer, Martin Antonio.
And this has been Martin Javier saying thank you for watching
Game On, the podcast.